Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Moment of Truth. We are here again on a Thursday evening. Natural, welcome, brother. Hey, Caitlin, welcome. Sarah, welcome. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Moment of Truth. Mike G, what up, brother? This is Community Connoisseurs Thursday night Instagram live podcast, where we bring individuals that's doing great work in their industry on here to share their story a little bit about what they have going on, to inspire the viewers and to get connected. This is a positive platform here on social media, Instagram, to inspire y'all. And tonight we are honored to have Mrs. Erica YUEH on our podcast. Yes, sir, Natural. Black Pond Game. Vito, what up? Johnny. We got Go-Go Live in the building. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we got a special guest. She goes by Mrs. Erica YUEH. She is a journalist, artist manager, entrepreneur, media producer. She has a lot going on, y'all. Tonight she's going to come on and share her story with us. Yes, sir. Vito, that Black Pond Game on. Y'all stay tuned for that. Day, what's up? Good evening, good evening. Got a special guest on here tonight, y'all. For those who are just joining, this is the Moment of Truth, Community Connoisseurs IG Live podcast that we do every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. We bring individuals that are doing great work in their community, great work in their industry, entrepreneurs, just advocates, community leaders, you name it. We bring them on here to inspire and to share their story. So tonight we have Mrs. Erica YUEH on, y'all. Salute, Day. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one tonight, y'all. We're just waiting for Erica to come on. Day. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Once Erica comes on the platform, y'all, if you have any questions for Erica, please drop them in the chat box. I'm going to pin any questions that you have, and we're going to try to answer as many as possible. Also, do us a favor, hit that arrow at the bottom right-hand side of the screen and invite about 10 to 15 of your followers onto this conversation. It's going to be a great conversation tonight. Erica YUEH, y'all. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is the Moment of Truth. Got the sweet sounds of Marvin Gaye playing. DC Zone, Marvin Gaye. We're just waiting for Erica to join us.
I wanna know what's going on, baby. Yes, I wanna know what's going on right now.
This is going to be a great conversation tonight, y'all. She has so many great things going on. We are super excited to have her.
Tell me, yeah, what's going on?
Again, for all who is joining, thank you all for joining us tonight. This is the Moment of Truth, Community Connoisseurs Instagram Live podcast that we do every Thursday night, y'all. We bring in special guests that are doing phenomenal work in their community, entrepreneurship, leadership, activism, you name it. We bring them on so they can share their stories, give us a little in-depth information about their upbringing, and to give them their flowers while they can smell them. Just waiting for Erica. All right, y'all, we're just waiting for Erica to tap in. She is a busy woman, so I'm sure she's getting it together.
There's far too many of you dying. You know we got to find.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mike.
To bring some loving.
DC's own Marvin Gaye.
We don't need.
Let me know if y'all see Erica tap in.
Oh, not anger, for only love and comfort. You know we got to find a way to bring some loving. Oh, yeah. Take it light, take it sight. Punish me with brutality.
Thanks for joining, Court. Welcome, welcome.
So you can see what's going on. What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Woo!
Again, tonight we have entrepreneur, media producer for ABC, artist, manager, journalist, Erica YUEH on, y'all. Super excited about this conversation. She has a lot of jewels to drop. She has a lot of upcoming projects. And we're going to learn a little bit about her tonight, y'all. We're waiting for her to tap in at the moment. And again, if you all have any questions for Erica once she comes on, please drop them in the comment box and we're going to pin the questions. We're going to try to answer as many questions as possible for Erica tonight. And also, once we have her on, please invite a few friends to this conversation by hitting that arrow at the bottom right-hand side of your screen so they can get some of this knowledge, some of these jewels that Erica has to drop tonight. Appreciate it, Mike. Beezy, what's up, Beezy? Welcome, welcome. Be easy, Beezy, my man. What it do? What it do? What it do? We just waiting for Erica to tap in, y'all. It's gonna be a good one tonight. There she is, Erica YUEH is in the building. We getting ready to tap her in, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Erica, what's going on?
Oh, sorry. I've been crazy busy today. This is a lot.
Hey, I got you. It's all good. We already know you're a busy woman. You have a lot going on, so no worries. Welcome to the moment of truth. On the behalf, what was that?
I said thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. On the behalf of community connoisseurs, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody, this is Erica YUEH. There's a lot of people tapping in. There's going to be a lot of people on here tonight that want to hear your story, hear a little bit about your journey. Uh,
Okay.
so we're super excited to have you. For those who have just joined in, this is the Moment of Truth Community Connoisseurs Instagram Live podcast that we do every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. When
Every
we bring in individuals like Erica that's doing so much great work
oh,
to share their story, to talk a little bit about their journey, and also, just to give her flowers while she can smell them. So again, on the behalf of Community Connoisseurs, thank you for spending time with us tonight.
I try. Like, y'all don't understand. This day has been crazy. I've been crashing on the piece. I didn't have time to get ready. Like, it's a
Hey,
lot.
but you
Um,
here. You are here. You are in the building. So, Erica, there's a lot of people from our network that's tapping in. There's a lot of people from your personal network that's tapping in. But for
mhm,
those who are just joining us tonight, who
mhm.
don't know who Erica YUEH is, tell the people. Let's go back to your childhood a little bit. Let's take them back to Columbus, Ohio. Correct?
Born and raised on the east side.
Okay. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio. We're gonna take them back to the childhood. Let the people know a little bit about your upbringing in Columbus, Ohio.
So like born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, from the east side. Um, I don't know. I've always lived in Columbus. My childhood was pretty much like normal for real. Like I grew up in an area where it wasn't like the projects, but it wasn't rich or anything either. It was like
Yeah.
I can't. It was considered low income, but I mean, it wasn't like the projects. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So, I grew up in Columbus, and then eventually my mom, she had moved us outside of the east side, and she moved us to like this suburb, and I was there for like high school, and it was a big transition for me because I had went to school with all black people, and then it like
Wow.
over to okay, I'm going to school with only white people, and I remember thinking to myself when I had my first it was my first day of school, and I was
Mm.
like, God, I'm the only black person. It wasn't even not black female. It was literally the only black person
Wow.
in in my class. I remember how uncomfortable I felt,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't express it to my mom or anything because she was just so happy that she moved us to a suburb. You know, she had hustled all her life and moved us to this beautiful, beautiful home. So it was like, I didn't want to like bring her down for that or share with that. But honestly, childhood, I had I don't know, I went
So I noticed that you said like in Ohio, you said you from the South. What you say you
east
from the
side.
East Side? I'm sorry. So in DC we have the Southeast, Northeast,
Yeah,
Southwest. You know what I mean? Northwest.
yeah,
Is it the same way out there? Like you all claim certain areas
yeah,
in Ohio? Like if you talk to me and someone asks me where I'm from here in DC, I'll say I'm from Southeast or I'm from the South Side. Is it the
right.
same way out there?
It's the same way, but I mean, we don't really get into the whole southeast, southwest like y'all, because y'all get into like northwest,
Mm-hmm.
the specifics. We just
Right.
say
Right.
from the east side, the north,
Ah,
west side.
yeah.
But most, you know,
So,
like a lot of people I know from like east side and north side and south side.
yeah.
The
So like
white west side was like white trash.
so like the east side is more so like urban, like a lot of like the urban side, more so a lot of African Americans are on that side of town and Ohio.
South side, yeah.
Okay.
West side was the side where it was like white trash people.
Got you. So you said you did you grow up in a household with just your mom? I know you referenced your mom. Was it just you and your mom or
It was mom and my dad.
okay.
They are still together. You know, I struggled a lot with my relationship with my father, though.
Hmm. Tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Um, I gotta write a book about this. Um, I feel like female looks to their father as their person. He taught me a lot. Um, what everything I know about like dudes, everything like that, like he taught me. He raised me to be a certain way, how to carry myself as a woman. He always taught me, you know, you can't go outside the house looking any type of way.
Right.
So growing up, I couldn't wear no sweats to school. I couldn't even wear flip flops to school because he was real big on making sure you always look put together. Nails done, hair done, and my hair looked crazy. He'd be like, "No, you can't go outside looking like that." So that's why I be so into like how
You
I
present yourself.
felt, because my dad, he made sure like you can't look like anything. He even told me, he said, don't ever catch your man, or don't ever let your man catch you not smelling good, because if you don't smell good and another female he walked past smells good, he's going to, pay
Right
attention.
there, yeah.
But he taught me like, I feel like OG shit. He taught me a lot of stuff about protection, everything like that. He was real big on fighting, so he taught me how to fight when I was younger. It was crazy. We grew up, and I got long hair, and where I was from, girls like to pull hair, they cut hair, all that. So he would literally, it's gonna sound weird, but he would literally like randomly just pull my sister and I hair. We would just be walking around the house, just like pull it.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
like, do if you get into a fight and she got your hair, what you about to do?
Hmm.
Pull it hard.
So you had a little bit of self-defense training at an early age, huh?
At an early age, he definitely taught us all about like defense and stuff like that. He was always our protector, our defender, and everything like that. I mean, we was just little girls, so
So were you closer to your dad or your mom? Right.
I could. Mhm.
Got you. Okay.
Mom is like my hero for real. She taught me everything I know, and I'm a mom now, so it's like I try to, you know, try to be as much of a good mom as my mom was, or it still is. She's always been there for me. Like I said, she hustled her way to like give us a better lifestyle and all that stuff. So like my son, he don't ever have to need one for nothing, because like I have that the same mindset my mom.
Absolutely. And yeah, definitely. And, as you mentioned, your mom hustled to get you all out of the situation that you were raised in the early age, pretty much a low income community. Tell us
Yeah.
about that transition. I know you started to kind of touch on, like, you went to school, your earlier years, it was you grew up in a, in a rough neighborhood, but then your mom hustled
Mhm.
y'all's way, and you were able to, move out of that environment, and you were in a brand new environment with a brand new culture. How
I,
how did you deal
I
with that?
show you my house that I grew up in versus the house that my mom moved us to. Polar opposite, like literally polar opposite.
Mhm.
We went from this small, like just one floor type house, like super small. It's crazy because I was just in Columbus maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I drove by
Mhm.
the old
Your
house
house.
and I was like, damn, I forgot how it even looked. It's been so long, but I'm like, damn, that's so crazy that I grew up in this, and then to see like, what my mom moved us into, literally, literally polar opposite. Like it was just like, wow.
Wow. Yeah. And really quick, for those who are just joining in, welcome to the Moment of Truth. This is Community Connoisseurs Instagram Live podcast. We do this every Thursday night. We bring individuals doing great work in their field of endeavor, in their community, leaders, activists, entrepreneurs on here to share their stories from childhood to their current endeavors
And
with us.
tell the people that you based in DC.
Say that again.
I said you got to tell the people you're based in
Oh
DC.
yeah. You see the hat definitely in the Black Pawn Game hoodie as well. I'm based in DC. For those who are coming on from Erica's network, who may be in Ohio and other places. We are a DC based nonprofit organization. If you're not following us, please do. It's community underscore connoisseurs. And if you're not
Yep.
following Erica, please follow Erica's handle as well. We're gonna tap right in. We're gonna get into like a lot of the great things that she's done in Ohio, the stuff that she has going on here in DC. She's really making an imprint here in the nation's capital. So we're just super excited to have her. So, Erica, so you moved into a brand new neighborhood, to a brand new environment, which is beautiful. Your mom did her thing. Salute to all of the strong moms out here that's getting it done. Yeah, definitely. Salute to all the strong moms that's out here doing it, getting it done for their children and their families. And then you said in high school, you went to a school that was predominantly, Caucasian white. So tell us about how you deal with that. First, before what are you mixed with?
So my dad is Black and my mom is Taiwanese. She's just Chinese, but she's from Taiwan. She was born and raised in Taiwan.
Got you. All right. So how was that experience shifting? How was that? Say that again.
I said it's not Thailand. Everybody get that confused. It's Taiwan.
Taiwan. It's not Thailand. It's Taiwan. Get that shit, everybody. So, so tell us about that culture shift. Like, how did you deal with that, and how did this shape you to become, who you are today? Because you do a lot of advocacy for, for Black people. So I want to know, like, how was that culture shift moving from a predominantly African American community and going into a predominantly white community?
Don't think it hit me until college, for real. Okay. Because even in high school, like, I hung out with just all Black people. I mean, even in college, I did the same thing.
Gotcha.
That's where I felt like I belonged. Like I tried to link with Asians, but they didn't fuck with me. Because I honestly stopped telling Asians that I was half Asian because they never believed me. I remember this one girl, she was like a foreign exchange student at my high school, and I remember telling her, oh, you from Taipei with Taiwan? My mom is actually from there too. She looked at me, she said, no way. I said, yeah, like my mom is from Taiwan. And she started laughing at me. And I was like, okay, I ain't telling no more people that I'm half Asian because they don't believe me. And it wasn't until I moved to the DMV area where I had Asians approaching me, asking me if I was half Asian, which I thought was kind of like, oh, wow. How can you tell that I'm half Asian? Because where I'm from, they just think I'm Black, So it was, I don't know, it was different, but I still... Like, I hung out with white people. White people were my friends, and Black people were my friends. I really hung out with everyone, but it wasn't until college I went to school.
What school was that?
Ohio University.
Nice. Okay.
After Ohio, it wasn't my first choice, but I went there because they had the best broadcast journalism program.
And that's what you studied, correct?
I went to school for broadcast journalism, and I felt like OU was the best choice for me because they had an amazing program, like top 10 journalism programs in the country. So, but if I had to do it all over again, I would have went to HBCU because I came out here to DC. I came out to, I went to, what's it called? Howard. I went to Howard.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced nothing like it.
Shout out to HU.
I went to, I mean, of course, their homecoming, but I was actually just partying on campus when I had first moved here. I was kicking with like all the college kids because, again, I was still in college. It was just so much fun. And I remember I went to this house party and they dropped Kirk Franklin, and I was like, yeah, this is
I am where I'm supposed to be.
I never, they literally, I think that song like, oh.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
What's it called? Revolution or something like that. Yeah. When they played that at the party, I was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
But I mean, it wasn't until OU that I really started my activism, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because like it didn't really hit me until I got here. Like race has always been an issue for me because when I was growing up, my dad, he would always ask me, he was like, he would ask me just like randomly. He's like, what are you? And I'm like, I'm half Black, half Chinese. He's like, okay, make sure you remember that. Because they're going to make you want to feel or understand or just make you think that you're just Black or you're just, I can't even say just Asian because nobody's ever looked at me as just Asian. But it was different for my sister because my sister, she's half Black, half Asian. as well, but
Younger
people,
or older sister?
huh?
Younger or older sister?
Younger.
Okay.
But people only looked at her as being Asian. They didn't see her as black.
Gotcha.
So I grew up like I'm the darkest in my family. My hair texture is different from everyone else. All my family members are yellow for real. So it was like a struggle, kind of trying to find like where do I fit in. You know what I'm saying? I was that kid that was like too white for the black people, but then too black for the white people.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm not white. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like it was just always weird. And like I said, I tried to connect with Asians, and that didn't really work until I moved here. I think DC is just like.
And so you graduated in 2016, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then when you graduated, did you come straight to DC as soon as you graduated, or?
I went back to Columbus because I was finding a job or finding my career, and then I was also working. Like I was working for the state of Ohio and applying for jobs. And then I landed the job at ABC in DC, and I've been doing that.
So for the most part, soon as a little while after you came, you graduated, you came to DC, you landed a job at ABC, in which we're going to talk about shortly. But I'm curious, like, okay, so you had a culture shift in school and in college, and then moving from Columbus, Ohio, to the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Tell us a little bit how that transition worked for you. Like,
You don't understand. It was big because I came from such a small city, and to transition into this big ass city, and to be honest, DC is not that big, but for me, it was huge.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even know what to do with myself when I first moved here.
Wow. What did you do? What did you do when you first moved here? I'm curious.
I
Huh?
I partied a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, you come to the city, you got to do that. It's definitely
worked and
it's lit
went
out here.
I worked and went out every day. It was bad. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna hold you. It was bad. I was going out Monday, Tuesday, because here there was parties every day.
Single
like,
day of the week.
You only party on the weekend. You only party on Friday, Saturday, and maybe a Sunday. The Sundays they just started to pick up that day party vibe.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
They had when I had first moved, Columbus had just started doing day parties. Y'all been doing day parties for forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'm here. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going here, we're going there. Like it was just because I had my cousin, she also lives here. She's also from Columbus, so we were kicking it. But that transition from like Columbus to DC, it made me appreciate DC so much more, because like when I would go home, I'm like in a culture shock, because here I'm meeting people from Morocco, Egypt, Ethiopia, you know what I'm saying? And back home, you're just black or white,
Right,
so
right. Wow.
in Columbus it's majority white people that live there. So I would just go places. I remember just being so irritated, because I'm like, where the fuck is that diversity? Because here in DC, there's so much diversity, and that's what I do love about this place.
Yeah, that's amazing. For those who just joined, thank you all for joining. This is the Moment of Truth. This is an Instagram live podcast that Community Connoisseurs does, a DC-based nonprofit organization, does every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. We bring on individuals like Erica, who is doing great work, has phenomenal stories to share their journey, to share their current endeavors, their past endeavors, and their upcoming endeavors. And we're just honored and happy to have you all join us tonight. If there's anybody on here that has any questions, I see Danny Alexis has dropped the question. Thank you for dropping that question. I am going to pin that question shortly. But if anyone else on the platform has any questions for Erica, please drop them in the comment box, and I'm going to pin them in. We still got a lot to cover. Hit that arrow at the bottom right-hand side of the screen and invite about 10 to 15 people to this conversation, because we're getting ready to get into the nitty-gritty of what Erica has going on here in Washington, D.C. Okay.
Well, congratulations to Dania, Alexis.
Hmm.
That's amazing that you graduated. Congratulations. Most people don't, finish college, so that's a great thing for you.
Let's hop right into it. So I just pinned the question. I graduated in May, and I am looking for my first job in broadcast. What advice do you have? I would like to move to a big city. Great
So
question.
go do that. If you want to move to a big city, honestly, go for it. Because I had always knew that after I graduated, I had always knew I was going to be in a big city. I just didn't know where. I always thought I was going to be out in LA or New York, but DC is, it's big, and it's a great place for journalism. A lot of politics here and all that stuff, especially if you're interested in things like that. And plus, the culture in DC is just so rich. Like I get to do all type of stories from politics, and then I'm doing this story on GoGo right now for Black History Month. So it's a variety of different stories that you can share. But if you want to go to a big city, please like just apply to anything that you come across that's in a big city, in New York, in LA, in DC, even in Texas, in Atlanta. CNN's headquarters are there. So I say go for it, and never, ever, ever give up, because you're going to hear a lot of no's. I was considered one of the lucky ones, because I landed my first gig after college. It took me probably like 5 or 6 months to land that gig. But after landing it, it's just been smooth sailing ever since. Now, some people don't share that same story, but I'll have people, they'll come to me like, oh, all I get is a no, or people just keep, looking at my resumes and not really responding or whatever have you. And I just tell them, like, you cannot give up. I was telling one dude that I've been mentoring, because that's what I do on the side. I don't know why people just always hit me up for mentorship. I don't know why. I don't have all
Obviously,
the
doing something right.
yeah, but I don't have all the answers. But he just kept complaining. One, I don't like complainers, because you either going to do something to change the situation you're in, or you're just going to be complacent and stay stagnant. And that's not what I do personally. So like, if you are getting a lot of no's, you keep applying everywhere, you don't understand how many no's I got. Like everything was, oh, you're not the person we're looking for right now. Or, oh, we're looking for something, your resume is great, but we're looking for somebody else or something else. So I feel like you have to just keep striving to do that. There was a lot of times where I didn't care that, I filled out an application, sent in my resume. I went to those news stations, knocking on their doors, meeting with the presidents of the news stations, meeting with whoever, the senior producer, whoever I needed to get in contact with. They saw my face. Sometimes it's a good thing to show your face, because they get so many resumes, they get so many applications, that it's hard to keep up with all that stuff. So if they come and they're like, okay, so you applied, and you're like, oh yeah, hey, I just applied. I'm just trying to check out the newsroom. I want to meet, the senior here, senior there, president, whoever. I want to meet whoever's in charge. I That's one thing about me. I'm going straight to the boss. I don't care about the assistants. I don't care about nobody else. I'm going straight to the boss. There's been a lot of times where that's worked in my favor.
Hey, and ladies and gentlemen, she wonders why people want her to be their mentor. Y'all just hear that? Everybody put the emoji clap hands inside of the comment box for those jewels that she just now dropped. And another thing I could just add on to everything you just said, just that networking perspective. You go to a big city, it is imperative that you network. Speaking of network, Erica, let's talk about let's rewind back to like you just transitioning to DC, you coming out, you having a good time in the scene. Let's talk about your networking experience. What did you do to kind of like get connected? And is there any individuals or mentors here in Washington, DC that kind of embraced you to put you on the right track to get things done the way you needed to once you were just like a fresh new face here in the city?
That's a great question, for real, because I never knew the importance of networking until I moved here. Like, people say, oh, networking this, networking that. And I was going to all the college fairs that I had in college, but it's not until you get into the real world and apply those, everything that you learned in college or high school, whatever, into your real life. And then you understand, like, oh yeah, no, this is what they were talking about. So when I first moved to DC, I was networking everywhere. Like, I was just going to any event that had networking in it. Some of those events, they weren't, too informative or anything like that, or too beneficial for me, because a lot of DC events, when they
Uh-oh, she must have a call or a text coming in. Erica, you still there? All right, well, Erica's getting that together over there. Again, for those who are just joining, thank you for joining us. This is the Moment of Truth, our Instagram live podcast that we do every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. We have the pleasure to have Erica YUEH on tonight. She's dropping a lot of jewels, as you can see. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment box. We're going to try to pin as many questions while we have Erica on tonight. She's given a lot of jewels, y'all. We still have a lot to cover. So again, thank you all for joining. And do us a favor. Hit that arrow at the bottom right-hand side of the screen and share with a couple of your friends and your network this amazing conversation. And
I'm so sorry.
no, you're good. You're
I'm
good. We're good.
sorry because I'm working on this piece and my editor keeps blowing me up.
Hey, you got a lot going on. We understand. We out here. We out here. The people are still here. And let me just say, you're getting a lot of love in the comment box. There's a lot of people dropping
I appreciate
hundreds. Oh, it looks like you gained another potential mentee. Ania says she would love for you to be. She's interested in you to be her mentor. So definitely connect. And this is what the Moment of Truth is about. Networking, connecting you with people. You got a lot of people clapping their hands, loving your story. My guy Day said you're beautiful. It's really going down. This is Black excellence at its finest here on the Moment of Truth tonight. So you were saying the networking experience and being connected
in DC
and going to networking events here in DC. How did that work for you?
It's important to go to them. Most of them that I went to, were social events. So like there was, we would just drink and network. But I think that it was important because I got to meet different type of people. I would just, go somewhere and I'm meeting females that are CEOs of their own company, or I'm meeting, people who are also in the media industry, or I'm just meeting people in the music industry. There's so many people here that you can network with, and you never know. One thing I will say about networking, you never know who you're going to need. Mm-hmm. Never know what industry you might tap into or anything like that. And I'm a firm believer that, like, I have plenty of dreams and goals that I want to accomplish, and I'm not going to just narrow myself into just the media industry. Mm-hmm. So I'm tapping into other industries as well, and people that I've met in the past could potentially help me with the other industries that I tap into. So you never know who you're going to meet. Always be on your best. Your first impression is definitely everything. And keep those contacts. I have received so many cards throughout the years, and some I've lost, I ain't gonna lie. But keep those contacts. You have to keep contacts because they're so important. Because one day I'm tapping into the clothing industry. So I met people that I can buy my fabrics from for wholesale. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh crap, don't I have his card? Yeah, I have his card. I'm gonna just call him real quick. And so it's important to keep, those contacts.
Absolutely. And so when you first got here, you went to networking events, you connected with some great individuals here in Washington, D.C. And your first job you landed was with ABC here.
Yes.
And what's your title at ABC?
So I am a producer. I producer / reporter. Like, I really do. I've done it all at ABC. I've reported produced, to have been, I don't know, anything that you need me to be.
Yeah.
Cameraman, all that. So I've literally done it all.
Yeah,
I've been
filling in the gaps for sure. And let me ask you, because I noticed you do a lot of like activism. I remember, being on a live where you were just going in about the importance of covering Black stories. Let's talk about, because that was one of the things that I was kind of like, would you mind if we talk about this? And you're like, yeah, I'm vocal about it inside of the walls of ABC. Tell the people about what you're doing behind the scenes to really advocate highlighting positive Black stories at ABC.
So, okay. Like you said, I'm a firm believer of telling Black stories. And what's the crazy thing about it is, I was just thinking to myself today, it's crazy. My dream when I was a junior in junior in college, I was I was part of an org called BSU, Black Student Union. And I remember I was in like this meeting that we had, and of course it was like about injustice issues, and because we dealt with a lot of like crap on campus. We dealt with a lot of injustices, a lot of racism on campus. I mean, going to a school that has over 20,000 kids and only 4.5% of that population is us, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Dealt with a lot. And I was on the board, the e-board for the Black Student Union. I remember we were just having, everybody was fired up. And I remember thinking to myself, I said, I want to tell positive Black stories at a national level.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that God had it planned for me already, that I was already going to be doing that right out of college. Because that was like literally my ultimate goal, my ultimate dream.
Right.
So that just goes to show, I wasn't dreaming big enough at that time, because I'm like, okay, I crossed that off my list. What's next? Let's keep going.
Right.
But because I started telling those Black stories, it was hard for me at first. It's all important to have people that look like you in leadership positions, and I'm a firm believer of that, because when I first got to where I'm at, people weren't taking my stories. I pitched positive Black stories, and I'm like, okay, nobody's taking it, because they didn't care. And it wasn't until I got a Black editor who took every story that I had, literally every one. So I'm writing stuff left and right, because I don't really care. I mean, I care about politics, but I don't care about it that much. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about what's going on in the White House. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm keeping it real. Like, I care about what I care about, and what I write about, and what I report about. When I care about it, it's magnified for me. So there have been times where editors, they wanted me to write a story about, Chicago killings. I told them I'm not doing that. For what? Because we already have a plethora of reports of Chicago shootings and Chicago killings, and in Chicago this, Chicago that, and a lot of the Chicago rhetoric was being amplified because the president, or at the time, Trump, he was, saying a lot of stuff about Chicago, how it's the city, and, just a lot of stuff. So the media was focused on Chicago. And I remember them trying to tell me, like, oh, you need to write this story. And I respectfully declined. I just said, I'm not writing this. Come up with a different angle. Maybe I can do that for you. And then I can report on a different angle, because I'm not going to do is just report the same rhetoric that the past president was spewing out at the time. And Chicago already has a bad rep. You know what I'm saying? So I twisted it. I actually wrote a story. You remember the Parkland kids, that the unfortunate event that happened in Parkland with the school shooting. There was a small amount of people, of students, that joined alongside the Parkland students hand in hand to fight against gun violence. And those students happened to be from Chicago.
Wow.
And were peacemakers. They were their official title was Peace Warriors in Chicago. And I remember coming across an article. I think it was I forget where it was, but I think it was in Rolling Stone or Vanity Fair or something. But they had only mentioned, you know, a little bit about these kids doing, and I wanted to do a positive story about, you know, these kids and what they, my eyes, they, I'm not taking anything from Parkland, not whatsoever. In my eyes, they see this type of violence daily. They see this type of violence. They were seeing this type of violence growing up. The girl that I featured my story on, she was the one that actually told me, you know, like she couldn't even go outside to play with her sisters because of gun violence that was occurring in her neighborhood. I'm like, you know, I get it. The Parkland students, they suffered a lot and they went through a lot of PTSD, but why don't we talk about the PTSD that the kids in the hood go through and the kids in the project? Like, nobody's talking about them. Nobody's giving them a voice. And if they give them a voice, it's on a little platform where it's a paragraph long, you know? And I, you know, when I started interviewing Ariana Williams, when I started interviewing her, she just kept talking about the parking. It's parking this, parking that. I'm like, girl, no, this is not what this story is about. I want you to tell me from your time, like when you grew up to now. And she just laid it out for me. I tried to make her, one thing about me, anybody that's going into the journalism field, make your interviewees, make your people feel comfortable talking to you. Have to make them feel comfortable, because if they don't, or relatable, I don't like the robotic, you know, reporters that sit up and just like report on anything. So I relate to you, you know what I'm saying? Or if I relate to you, I'm going to make it so that you're comfortable enough to share with me your story. She ended up telling me about how her dad got killed when she was only 9 years old, and she remembers the blood print that she seen from her dad. Like, it was just it was deep.
I want to ask you this though, like, you know, oftentimes, you know, from my personal perspective, and I'm speaking for myself, a lot of times what we see is like these broadcasting stations, they tend to thrive on the negative stories in our community, in our African American community. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about reshaping, you know, what's being reported when it comes to the African American narrative in our communities, and some of the work that you're doing inside of the walls of ABC to ensure that we are highlighting positive Black stories.
Absolutely. So there's definitely a problem. You know what I mean? I will say that I'm in the media, and I'm A-okay with saying that there's a problem. And people like myself have brought it to their attention, have spoke up in newsrooms, or just keep producing, you know, positive, not even just Black, but positive minority stories. Because there's other demographics that are viewed in certain lights as well. So it requires people to help change that, because I'm not letting a white person tell a Black story. I'm just not. Some other news outlets, they might, you know what I'm saying? But you can't, there's no way you can tell a Black story if you cannot relate to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to dive deep into like a Latina story, or I'm not going to dive deep into a Muslim story, because I can't relate. You know what I mean? So there's somebody that can tell that story better than I can. And I think that's what, you know, we have tried to make people realize. And people, I'm talking about big name people. I'm a producer. They call me just to vent. These are top paid correspondents, like Black correspondents calling me to vent about the unfairness that they receive in the industry.
Wow. So that exists, because that's alludes to my next question. Like, you see that often being a, you know, a Black journalist inside of, you know, that realm, that like the editors don't really want to cover those stories. And if they do cover it, it's a twist. Do you see that? Like, they try to twist the story, or if it's someone doing positive things, it has to be kind of connected to the a past struggle or something like that. Do you see that often in the industry?
I know what you mean. I'm talking about, I know what you're referring to. But from a journalist perspective, we always have to be quote unquote like non-biased, and
Mm-hmm.
um, how do I put this? We have to be like neutral
Yeah.
in the story. So most stories that are told, they will include certain, you know, dynamics that may not always be the best or
Mm-hmm.
may not be positive, but from a journalist perspective, they're thinking like you have to tell the whole story and not
Got it.
one
Okay.
side.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where people come from, where they say, you know, oh, you know, the news this way and that way, which I can understand why.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why there's, um, you know, distrust within the media,
Mm-hmm.
the African American community, but there's people like myself who try to merge that gap and try to bring us together and
Absolutely.
try to I you know tell the community that listen, I understand. I have there have been plenty of black people that just won't talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
There have been black people where I've tried to tell their story and they'll be like, I don't trust the media. Baby, you got it. I understand why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to pressure you. I'm not here for all of that. But understand that if we want to tell positive black stories, you have to be willing to talk to us. You have to be willing to help us share this story. You know, you have to put your feelings to the side. And me, I know you're not supposed to do this in journalism, but me, I will make sure my like the people that I'm working with feel comfortable enough and they write off on the story. I tell you a secret, that Chicago story that I had, don't tell nobody this. Oh God, I hope nobody from ABC is watching, but I let her that story before I published it.
Wow.
Make sure this is okay with you. I wanted she did a lot for me. You know what I'm saying? She helped me help her tell the story that needed to be told.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't ever want to put a like a you know get bad relationships from any of my sources or anything like that. But you're not supposed to do that. You
Right.
really, but
Oh.
because I on people so much,
Mm-hmm.
I really do, and the recording that I do and producing that I do is genuinely from my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
I bend a little.
yeah, it's so reassuring to know that, you know, we have an individual like you and other individuals like you with that spirit that is going to hold it down for the culture and make sure that, you know, you're advocating for positive narrative, positive stories in your position. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing in that area. And speaking of positive story, I know you have a story that you're working on right now highlighting go-go music, right? Can you talk, are you at liberty to talk about that a little bit? Just to get.
Yeah, so it's coming together real nice. That's why I'm like going back and forth talking about this because I like literally screening the piece and all that stuff. I have to give it to my producers, my senior producers, for them to approve it. But yeah, it's been great. It's been going great. It's just about I wanted to highlight the history of go-go. When I first moved here in DC, I didn't know what go-go was. Okay, I come from a city where all we play for real is trap music. You go into a club, they're playing trap music.
Or Little Bow Wow.
Man,
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. No shade to everybody from Columbus. I just had
yeah, got that one.
to.
But yeah, you hearing old Gucci, you
Hmm.
hearing Flag Surf, you hearing twerk songs.
Hmm.
Just you're not hearing go go. Like I didn't
Right,
know.
right. It's definitely a DC thing.
It's definitely a DC thing, but it was so cool to me that a city like created their own music genre,
Hmm.
and I get that out my head. And I remember I first moved here, I went to a go-go party, and it was like a house go-go party.
Mm.
Just to see everyone dancing, I'm dancing. Hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Hmm.
it's like loading on mine. But I just got to experience the whole go-go experience. You
Hmm.
know, I went to go-go concerts, and I thought it
Yeah.
was just so cool. Like I could not stop dancing. One thing about me, anybody that knows me knows I love to dance. I love to dance.
Like
Love
go-go is a cultural experience, you know, like
culture.
if you are, you know, you come and you hear it from anywhere, you can come from anywhere across the world and hear go-go music, and it's automatically a vibe.
It's automatically a vibe, and that's exactly what it was for me, a vibe. Like my cousin, I was like, do you know what go-go is? Like, what is this? Like, I always hear it on the radio, whatever have you, everything like that. But it was just weird for me because I never seen a city that, created their own music genre. That's really what y'all did. So
Definitely.
I wanted to do a story on the history of Chocolate City.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still that story after this go-go story, but I wanted to do the history of Chocolate City and how, because I've done stories on gentrification before. I'm the type of reporter I am. When I go out in the field, I talk to.
Grassroots. So you want those grassroots stories.
I
Sure.
want it to be real organic. I hate use over the phone. Like this whole working from thing I've been trying to get used to, because it's not really what I want to do, because I miss that in-person feeling and miss going to the people I'm talking to's houses. Like I did a story on Berry Farms when being gentrified, and I remember my one of my sources. I was always going over there, and I would go over there even on the weekend. Like I'm taking the train to her house, and she would feed me. Yeah, became like like how you adopted cousins, adopted grandma. She was one of those for me. She was like so ready to do the story and everything like that, and I felt bad for her because she was one of the ones that thought she would be able to move back. After
she was displaced. Yeah,
exactly. So that was a whole thing, but she really on, and I miss being able to do stuff like that. But the history of Chocolate City I was talking about, it's one of my work colleagues who's also like a good friend of mine. She was like, you know what the real story is the history of go-go. And I'm like, that's a really good story idea. So they went with both of them.
So what bands are you highlighting in that story, or is that information you can share at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's set to be aired tomorrow. So one band that we went with was Rare Essence, the OG.
IE.
And don't say go-go is trash, because it is not. It's not trash. I feel like
not at all.
Like this.
Not at all. This is a platform of love, y'all. This is all love. Go is definitely a vibe.
I'm not from here, right? And when I first heard go-go, I thought it was so different, but I just like I can't get like this thing. I don't know what this is. Like I said, all I listen to is rap music. All I listen to is trap music, all that. But it was different for me, and I was like, what is this sound? But it wasn't until like I actually experienced go-go.
Yeah. Definitely.
Party go-go concert. I'm like, oh yeah, this a vibe.
Yeah.
Stop dancing, and that's what I wanted the story to be about, like the history of it, how the music has evolved in itself. That we interviewed Rare Essence, OG band that's been around for 45 plus years.
RE, shout out to RE.
Yeah, and also the Backyard Band, who's considered like the new go-go band or like sound of go-go.
Well, Backyard has been around for over 20 years.
Yeah,
they definitely came up under RE, and things like that's actually the band that I grew up on, Backyard Band. But it's a lot of phenomenal go-go bands. But you are highlighting Rare Essence and Backyard Band. Those are two legendary bands in the city. So Erica, where can you tell like the people where they can find it? Because you said it's dropping tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's dropping tomorrow. Okay. I will link as well. Hey boo, I miss you. I worked with her at the clubs. Sorry. Yeah, it's dropping tomorrow. It's actually going to air tomorrow at 1 p.m. on ABC's network. Hopefully it's still doing that. Because like I said, we're still trying to get this piece done. And me being a perfectionist, I have to make sure it's like perfect before anything. But also it's going to air at 7 p.m. 3 shows picked it up. So
That's what's up. Salute to the work that Erica is doing, y'all. And she came down to DC, got connected. Now she's working with ABC, highlighting stories,
yeah.
grassroots stories here in Washington, DC, showing love for the culture of go-go in DC. She's been to go-go. She's experienced it. So she's just not reporting about something that she heard about. She's actually lived that experience, been to go-go concerts and things of that nature. So man, shout out to Erica and everything that you're doing here, because I mean, I think that's amazing. I think as a journalist, you have to kind of, you have to be in those environments where you're able to go directly into the space and get a feel for it to produce great content. So shout out to everything you do in regards to that. And Erica, so we touched a lot into like your career in journalism, but I would
Yeah.
be remiss because we're at 8:26. We're gonna go a little over, y'all. This conversation is so good. We're gonna take it over just a few minutes with Erica, because Erica's not only just a journalist for ABC, y'all. She has her own. She's an entrepreneur as well. She's doing so many great things here locally, and also back in her hometown. So let's talk a little bit about your clothing line. You have a robe line, right, that
Yeah.
you just launched. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about
Well,
what is it? Love.
it's not launched yet.
Okay.
It's called Love UA.
Okay.
UA. Sorry for my son. My son's in the background.
No worries.
Love UA.
Mm-hmm.
You is my middle name. It means beautiful moon in Mandarin Chinese,
Wow.
after my grandmother. But I've always wanted to do a clothing line, and I knew that from a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew, like, I've always been into fashion. Like when I was a kid, teenager, I'm putting mood boards together that I didn't even know it was a mood board at that time. You know, like create mood boards. Like
Mm-hmm.
at the time I was doing it, I didn't even know. I was just doing collages, what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
Collage, like things that I liked. I've always liked, I wouldn't say like expensive things. I've always been, I don't know, I would always look in the magazine like, ooh, I like that, or ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to see where, like, how far I've come, because growing up, like, none of that was even possible. I mean, my mom, we only shopped in thrift stores for real. Like,
Oh, okay.
we always went to thrift stores on every Wednesday. They was having a sale. You know what I'm saying? You get stuff for 99 cents on the green tags, the blue tags, the yellow tags. They got different colors tags and stuff.
Right.
So just to be able to afford certain things that I actually liked and I've always, been interested in is really cool. But ever since I was younger, I knew I wanted to do something with fashion. I just didn't know what.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I moved to DC and I was working overnights at ABC, and I would just work on my clothing line. Like I was getting ready for it. And at the time I didn't know that this is what I wanted to do. I was just like drawing sketches of stuff, and I knew I wanted to do something, and it dawned on me one day, because I'm like, I love robes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a total robe girl. Like,
Mm-hmm.
come home and I wear a robe. You know what I'm saying? Put on your robe, shower, stuff all pampered, put on a robe.
Yeah.
But something different, because not only was I wearing robes at home, but I was wearing robes going out to the clubs. I was wearing robes.
Okay. Interesting.
I remember this one time I had went out to the club in a robe, and I remember this dude was like, "Do you got on a bathrobe?" We're like Asian theme, but it wasn't like no bathrobe. But I dressed way where it was like, oh, her outfit is lit.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you got on a robe, but I like it. He's like, I love your outfit.
Right, right. So that's what inspired your line.
Yeah, like, and
How you can kind of.
robes inspired it, but also understanding that there's different places that you
Mm-hmm.
can. Like
Mm-hmm.
this, it was like a robe, looking. It was super long. It's like a robe cape. I don't know how to explain it, but I wore it to work one day, and I remember because I thought I looked great. You know what I'm saying? Not to my own horror and anything like that, but I had on like this simple outfit, but it was a head turner. You know, I always,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, my dad raised me as a way, so I always looked my best, and I always went to work fashionably on point.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because like my my robe had like a cape, and when I would walk, it just looked like a cape.
Wow.
One of my coworkers was like, "You need to start dressing like everyone else," and I said, "I absolutely will not dress like you people." She got I said, she's like, "You people?" I said, "Yes, you people, because y'all dress basic. I'm not dressing basic. I want to come in how I look." So I designed robes, 3 robes, like one for home, one for the workplace, and one to go out.
Nice.
And the going out one is like a 3-piece set. So yeah, I'm just
That's really creative, though. You know, you just gave me a whole different perspective in looking at robes. When I naturally wear robes, I think in the house after the shower, you know, relaxation. But I never looked in robes in that context. So that's very
only
creative.
wear them at home. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I wearing them to the clubs. I was wearing them to, like I said, my job. So when I designed the robes, I designed it to wear like, okay, the robe for the workplace, like a blazer, but it's a robe.
Nice.
So forth and so on. I'm actually going out to LA. My birthday is Wednesday. It's coming up on
Okay.
Wednesday.
All
That's
right.
birthday wish I had.
Everybody wish her happy birthday in the comment box, y'all. She's celebrating this Wednesday. Happy
Celebrate
birthday.
like the weekend, Wednesday, and then the weekend following.
Yes, indeed.
But that was like my birthday wish, just to
Nice.
work on the way,
Wonderful.
focus, throw in on it. So yeah, I'm
So when are you expecting to do the actual launch for the line?
summer to fall, somewhere in the summer or fall time. I'm looking to launch my products.
So y'all look out for that Love UA coming soon. Love UA, y'all. That robe line is coming soon.
Follow Love UA.
What is it? I'm a pin it. What is it? What is the Instagram?
Love UA.
Is it all one word?
It's at LOVEYUEH. Love UA.
I'm pinning that right now. Y'all make sure y'all go and follow that line.
Yes.
There you go. So
Excited.
you also are in the music industry. You're a manager for an artist. Tell the people about you know, what you got going on in the music industry. She got a lot of things going on, y'all.
It's a lot of things, and I'm a full-time mom on top of that. It's a lot.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But man, I'm tapping into the music industry. Yes, tapping into the music industry. I've always loved music. Anybody that knows me knows I've always loved music. You can't even talk to me. Like when I wake up in the morning, music is playing. When I go to sleep, music is playing. Throughout the day, I don't watch TV. I'd rather just listen to music. Music has always been therapy. I've always, like I said, been into rap music, but R&B as well.
So it's an R&B artist, or is she a hip hop artist?
Rapper. And
rapper?
she
Okay.
started rapping. But you know, we're doing our formula, I guess, to this music industry, kind of like QCs. We hope to be as big as QC. But you know,
for those who don't know, QC, that's quality control. They're a huge record label in Atlanta who has like artists like Migos, Lil Baby is under right?
And you know, he's the one. He is the CEO. He's the one that found Lil Baby, and he was like, you know, start rapping. Lil Baby didn't even want to rap.
Mm-hmm.
So this artist, that her name is Carry On. Make sure y'all follow her too. She's like super
How do
super
you
dope.
spell that? How do you spell that? So if people want to follow.
Carrion, but her stage name is just Carrie. So we calling her. But she, when I say, has bars, crazy bars, and like I said, I listen to a lot of music. I know what's good music and I know what's bad.
Yeah, that's super. That's super super cool. That the fact that you're tapping into that with everything else you have going on. Also, you know, you're studying a blueprint that's been successful, and you're kind of, you know, you're following suit with that when it comes to your artists as well. You're studying the industry, studying the game, and that's huge. So
We got the right people on our team,
mm,
you know, because it's a whole team.
mm-hmm.
A record label, actually, top tier record label.
And that's your record label, right?
I'm a part of the record
Top
label.
tier. Okay.
Yes, we're on paperwork, all of that stuff. But the founder of Top Tier, you know, he founded Top Tier and just like created a whole team of us. So yeah, it's been going strong. We've actually about to release her first campaign by the end of this. We shot her video. She has her song, everything like that. So we're actually just waiting on designs for her merchandise. Her merchandise is going to be dropping along with her song. It's a whole campaign.
Right.
So the design for bucket hat. She has her own nail polish and her line. So we're working on that. Again, that will be released by the end of this month. So
Wonderful, wonderful. And you also are a podcast. You have your own podcast as well.
Why is there a whole list?
Sometimes you forget how much you have going on until you hear it from someone else, right?
Yes, I just work.
Mm.
I'm like, dang,
You're a
another
hustler for sure.
podcast. Make sure y'all follow at Pretty and Petty Podcast. My cousin and I, that's the cousin I'm talking about, the one from Columbus, Sydney, her and I have a whole podcast, and we talk a lot about relationships. We talk a lot about self-love, affirmations. We are in the business of making women feel good. I love making
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Honestly, I'm not going to hold y'all, and hopefully this helps anybody that was like this. I used to be a mean, like, I was truly, truly a mean girl. I am a total B word. And you gain nothing from talking about other females. You gain nothing from bashing other females and tearing them down, because there's nothing you gain from it. It's better to uplift your fellow. You know what I'm saying? You never know what someone is going through. You never know. So
Definitely. I live by saying gossipers and backbiters destroy themselves.
they destroy themselves. They're miserable. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I used to be that girl that like talking about other people, bashing other women. It just is. There's literally nothing you gain nothing from that. It doesn't bring you type of inner peace. It doesn't bring you any type of joy, happiness, none of that. It just shows you're insecure. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely, I definitely have changed all that. So we're trying to make sure we're, like I said, we're in the business of making women feel good about themselves. So we talk to our girls. Our girls interact with us crazy. They love us. It was crazy because I was talking to my friend. We were just out for dinner, and she was telling me, she was like, yeah, I was talking to one of my old high school friends randomly one day, and she was talking to me about some issues, and she said, actually, you know, I've been listening to this podcast. It's really great. She was like, you should listen to it too. It's called Pretty and Petty. And my friend was like, oh, you're talking about my friend's podcast.
Right. And that's the podcast. That's the IG for her podcast. It's pretty
podcast too. Pretty podcast.
Yeah, pretty and petty podcast.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Make sure y'all go and follow that. I apologize. It's Pretty and Petty podcast at the end. Shout out to Carson. What's up, Carson? Carson also, that's my guy Carson. He's also has a lot of Ohio stories as well.
Are you
Um,
from Ohio?
I believe Carson is from Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but lastly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention you have so much going on, right? With your entrepreneurial endeavors, your job, but you're a full-time mom as well. How do you kind of balance your work in
Man,
a home life?
man, I was just telling myself today, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. You know, I have a 15-month-old, so he's not grown. He doesn't understand, like, oh, mommy's working, especially, like I said, this working from home situation has definitely been a lot. But I'm always about, I have to get my work done, regardless. You know what I'm saying? So if he's screaming in the background, I'm on the phone. I can't help it. You know, I tell everyone like, "Oh, sorry," but not really because I'm a mom, so I don't care how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is my priority. He is my world. You know, so he is actually, it's crazy because I really think I was blessed with him because before him, I was in a stagnant place in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. If that makes sense. I didn't I didn't know like the next steps I was supposed to take.
Mm-hmm.
I got pregnant with him, and it wasn't until after he came, I'm like, oh, I gotta go hard. It
Mm-hmm.
makes sense for me to stay stagnant and to be complacent when I have a whole kid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, his father and I, we do well for ourselves, but it was like an automatic switch that turned on that was like, hey, girl, you playing with your life.
Mm-hmm. Time to tighten up.
Got to tighten up,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to, because at the time I just worked for ABC, but I knew I wanted to do so much more. I just didn't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because like after my kid, I didn't know. Again, I still didn't know where to start, but I just started doing stuff. I started
Mm-hmm.
dressing more. I started to just go throughout processes, different processes that I'm in the different industries that I'm going through. So he's definitely been my motivational factor
Mm-hmm.
in life,
That's
for real.
amazing. That's amazing.
So juggling that it's hard, but it's definitely rewarding because just to see that he always has a smile on his face and understand like being a working mom is hard because you have to sacrifice sometimes. Sometimes I can't be with him, as much as I want to be, or if I have to go out of town to travel somewhere because I've been traveling a lot lately for the record label, meeting people and being in those different circles. You have to do that. Or like traveling for my clothing line, like I can't with my son, but it's definitely rewarding. So
Shout out to you.
all the working moms,
Yeah,
truly.
shout out to you and all of the working moms out here, all of the parents that's
I'm
out here.
a home mom, that is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I personally could never be a stay-at-home mom, but I commend the women that are stay-at-home moms because it's a full-time job. I don't care what nobody said. It's a full-time job, and until you're a mom, you could never understand it.
Absolutely. Shout out to all the moms out here. Everybody put 100 in the comment box for Erica holding it down, rolling up her sleeves, and getting it done for her son. And we're gonna wrap this up because it sounds like he's calling you. So so we're gonna get you out. So what we like to do, Erica, right? Before
Yeah,
we wrap everything up, we like to give you this space to one. I know you talked about some of the upcoming things, but if there's any events or anything that you have you want to plug before we let you go, and
yeah.
please use this space to do that. And dads, for sure, day, no doubt. Shout out to dads,
Oh,
moms, everybody is out here stepping into that space of supporting their family and being there for every moment, despite everything they have going on in their professional and personal life. Shout out to dads, moms, everybody out here sacrificing to get it done. But
yes.
yeah, I want to definitely give you this space to plug anything that's upcoming, any events that you may have, anything that you want people to look out for, and then leave us with two words, two sayings of, some words of inspiration for someone who may be on a platform who may need it.
Okay. So one, anybody that connect with me, please feel free. I swear I don't bite. I really do DM. um, but, oh, so like I said, YUEH supposed to be dropping summer. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for top tiers. Carrie, she's dope. We're dropping her campaign. It's called. Um, uh, that's dropping. It's gonna go viral. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna go crazy. We're recording. Sydney and I are recording another episode podcast tomorrow, but another episode that was pre-recorded last week will be released tomorrow as well. So stay tuned if you haven't already. Tap into our podcast. Make sure you look out for our top tier artists, Carrie, and my clothing line, Love YUEH. And also make sure y'all tune into ABC Network, see the Go-Go Story that is phenomenal. And encouraging. I just want to tell everybody that I don't care what you're going through. I don't care if you are in a state of depression or just feel like you're not doing enough or getting going through the day just in motion. I feel like everyone should understand that they can do whatever you want to do. Whatever you put your mind to, you will do. You always have to put in action behind, your ideas and whatever you want to do, but and that you are more than enough and you are more than capable to perform anything that you want to do, anything that you want to be. And I have said this year, 2021, is the year of execution for me. It's no more procrastinating. It's no more, being doubtful. None of that. It's the year of execution. I'm going to execute everything that I have planned, everything that I put my mind to. So I think that everyone should execute this year and really understand, like, you're truly more than enough. All of us are gems. Yeah, all of us are queens and kings. We're just trying to.
Absolutely. So you have a lot of people that's coming into the comments. People saying they're going to DM you. People saying that they want to work you. This is a platform where we want you all to connect with the individuals that we have on. So please DM her. Like she said, she doesn't bite. And on behalf of community connoisseurs, Erica, we appreciate you.
Guys, this was such a great combo. Again,
Absolutely.
I've been crazy today, but yes, like, honestly, thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for all that you do for the DC community and for the community. Make sure you guys stay tuned because we will, ABC News, we will be working with community connoisseurs in the very future, covering all positive Black stories. So
absolutely. All right, so there we have it. Thank you so much, Erica. We're locked in. We talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Bye, Charlie.
All right. So there you have it. Erica YUEH. She is amazing, y'all. She just came on dropping jewels, shared, life stories, shared information on journalism, a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors. So we want to thank you all for joining us tonight. This was an amazing conversation. Again, this is the Moment of Truth. We do this IG Live podcast every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. where we bring individuals like Erica YUEH on to share their stories, to inspire, to connect, all of that good stuff. So again, thank you all. If you're not following Community Connoisseurs, follow us at community_connoisseurs. Visit our website, communityconnoisseurs.org. We are a self-funded nonprofit organization. So if you have the giving spirit in your heart, please visit our website, check out our programs that we do in the community for the youth here in Washington, D.C., and, drop a generous donation because we are self-funded. We do fundraise for everything that we do. So please, your support will be definitely appreciated. Again, on the behalf of Community Connoisseurs, thank you all for joining. We'll see you next week for the Moment of Truth, 7:30 p.m. sharp. Peace.